welcome to episode 63 of the What Shara Made podcast. Welcome back if you are a returning viewer, and a big hello if this is the very first time you're joining me here. I've got a few things to show you. I've got a couple of FOs and one whip. Only one active whip. So I might actually start with some FOs. I know that's not the normal way that I do it. I usually start with my whips, but I'll save that one until a little bit later because it's a design whip and I want to ease into it. So the first whip I'm going to show you, I think I might have shown you just the beginning of it in the previous episode, in episode 62. It was the beginnings of my rainbow socks, which were my new travel project because I had just finished my other socks. So here they are, freshly finished just yesterday, and I finished them just in time to enter them into the Grocery Girls January sock bash. So I've entered them in there and I'm very pleased with them. They are made using some gorgeous self-striping yarn. And I think in the last episode I was discussing what I was going to do with the heels and toes. As you can see, I used a very neutral, what do you call that? What's that? Tweed. So it's an undyed tweed. Well, it's the look of an undyed tweed. It's probably dyed to get it to look like that. It was a Regia sock yarn. I just bought a 50-gram ball last time I was at Morris & Sons in the city, and it was exactly what I was looking for. I didn't want a harsh white. I didn't really want just a solid cream either, because I wanted it to have a little bit of depth to it to match the hand-dyed stripes. So I thought that cream tweed was perfect, or the beige tweed, whatever you call it, was just right. And I absolutely love these. I couldn't stop knitting them. I didn't wait until I was travelling. I just sat down and knit them because I love them so much, and I wanted to get them finished so I could enter them into the January sock bash. You might be able to hear some lawn mowing going on outside. I'm really sorry if that is taking over the sound. My apologies. This is the only time I had to podcast, so I thought I'd better grab the opportunity. I really hope the lawn mowing isn't taking over. Sorry if it is. So that is these socks. Couldn't be happier with them. I love them. I just did vanilla sock with a heel flap and gusset, and just a regular old toe. So that's these babies. Really pleased with them. So happy. The yarn is self-striping yarn from Shara Made, and she can be found on Etsy. The yarn is beautiful. You will not be disappointed with her yarn. It is gorgeous. So that is my first FO. My second FO, you would have seen it, and it was about halfway through in the last episode, and it was a design whip at that stage, but it's completely finished now. The pattern is with the testers, and it should be ready for release in March, beginning of March, fingers crossed. And it is the Maloa shawl, and that is this baby. Make sure I've got it facing the right way. Not that it really matters, but it's too big to fit fully in screen, but you'll get the idea. So you might remember last time you saw this, it had a million ends hanging out of the edge, and it was all bunched up on the needles, but now she's finished and she's glorious. She's all blocked. I'm so happy with it. I'm so pleased with it, and I've got some amazing testers working on their versions of it at the moment, and they're all doing a beautiful job, so thank you very much. And it's going well. I love it. So I'll show you what it looks like on. It's huge. It's almost a 300-gram shawl. So yeah, there's lots of ways you can wear it. Just the usual highwayman style, of course, and it comes down quite low because it's so huge. And you've got your tassels. I like to wear it like that, but you can, because it is so big, you can actually put it, I've also been wearing it. Wonder if I can do it now because you're watching. I probably can't do it because you're watching. Oh, I probably can't. I wore it out the other night and I did this kind of a sideways highwayman style. I can't even do it now. But I sort of put the point of the triangle over my shoulder. I don't even know what I'm doing because I'm facing, I can see myself in a screen when I'm filming this, but I'm backwards. So everything's a mirror image to me and it confuses my poor little brain. And I was able to sort of wrap it around my shoulders and it sort of looked a bit like a poncho, but anyway, I'm not managing to do that now. Sort of like this, I guess, but I had it wrapped around so that it actually stayed on. It looked really cool. Got lots of compliments on it. And I've just been wearing it around like this as well because it's big enough to do so. It's longer than my wingspan, which is good. You can't see that, of course. This is making great television. Like when you're on radio and you say, "Can you see that?" So it's been nice wearing this around. Not that I've had a lot of chance to be wearing anything made out of wool because we have had the most hideous heat wave ever. It's been revolting, but it is really cold today. What I mean by really cold is it's about 18 degrees Celsius and it is gorgeous. Oh my god, it's so nice. So that's been this gorgeous shawl, and I'm so happy with it. I cannot wait to release the pattern. I'm actually looking forward to knitting another one myself because as I was knitting this one, I kept thinking of all the other different colour combinations, and then I thought you could actually do the brioche sections in black and white and have the lace sections in different colours. Like you could do the lace sections in a rainbow sequence, all sorts of different things. Thinking of all sorts of crazy things. So that is that finished object. Really pleased with that. So keep an eye on Instagram and Ravelry and you'll see when that pattern is released. I'm really happy with it, really excited about it. But I will show you my next FO. One of them you've already seen, but it needed a partner. Not a partner in a sense that socks or gloves need a partner, but a partner as in more of a companion rather than a partner. So you've seen this hat before. I don't know that I've actually given this a name, this pattern design, but this hat you've seen before, right? Well, it needed a companion and I've made a cowl as a companion for this piece. So this is the hat and this is the cowl. As you can see, I haven't woven in the ends, and they just cast this off. And this is the cowl that goes with it. I'll show you what it looks like. Oh, could have worn it as a hat. So it's a nice short cowl that you can just wear just under your jacket if you like. It'll sit up cozy around your neck, stop the wind blowing in to your jacket. It hasn't been blocked yet, so it will sit out a little further when it's been blocked. So I'm really enjoying that, and it is going to sit out a little further and have a little more drape once it's been blocked, so it will look a little bit different. once it has been blocked. So that is this cowl, matches this hat, and I'm very pleased with the, oh my god, my hair's going to look very special after this. And it has the same small fluffy hair panel down the back as the hat. So they really are matching companion pieces. So those two pieces will be up for testing very soon. And later, at a later stage, there'll also be a longer version of this with a slightly different design element, not just a longer version of this, but we'll have further design into it, but they won't be coming out all together. These two will be coming out together, but the other version will be coming out at a later stage. So if that looks like something you think you might like to test with this combination of brioche and garter stitch, keep your eye on the Ravelry group and Instagram, and I'll be doing a call for testers there, so you can have a look at that little close up there, and I'll be doing a call for testers there as well. Just like I usually do, that's where I always do my call for testers, on Ravelry and on Instagram. But you sign up on Ravelry. You'll see instructions there anyway, it's pretty easy to do. And that leads me into my one and only whip. So it's a design whip, and it is another brioche design whip. You might be wondering, or maybe you're not, what my swatches look like. Well, they get pretty crazy when I am doing little design whips, and let me just show you this one for example, because it is particularly crazy. Sorry, I got fluff in my mouth now. This is what the swatch for this design that I'm about to show you began life as. Let me just turn this around. Yes, I know. And look, I can indeed put my arm all the way up this crazy thing, sort of. Wait, if I don't get my fingers caught in it. This could indeed be a wacky sleeve, if I wanted it to be. So I can indeed put my arm all the way up it. So you might be wondering what the heck all this is. Sometimes you want to knit something, a swatch in the round. You may have already seen people do this before, but sometimes you want to knit a swatch in the round, but you don't want to actually do the whole thing. You don't want to make a whole big tube. You just want 20 stitches or whatever. You don't want to do 60 stitches or 80 stitches or whatever, just to do the swatch. And that's all I wanted for this. So I just carry the yarn back and then start that row again, carry the yarn back and start that row again, and it's the same as if I was working the round that way. So that's what all this crazy yarn is at the back. So it started off, I had this idea, it started off down here. I had this idea down here, and it was kind of working what I wanted, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted. It wasn't working out. I couldn't get the stitches to match up, and I couldn't get the spacing to work out right, and I was gaining stitches at an uneven rate, and I couldn't get it to work. Then I had like a midnight epiphany. It was probably more like a 3 AM epiphany, but semantics. And I started to get this, and it started to come together. Well, this one actually developed out of a lack of concentration on my part. And I started to do something, I forgot to do one of the steps, and it turned out brilliantly, because then suddenly it started to work. And initially I was almost about to unpick it, and then I was like, hang on a second, that's working. That's working better than my original idea. So I kept going with it for a little while, and I started knitting up here, but I'm going down. and it started to work better than my original idea, so I kept going. It's a little bit wonky here, and then this worked perfectly, so then I did it again and got all the numbers right and got it to work perfectly here, and then I knew I had it right. So as I was doing this one, I wrote up all the numbers, and then I started on my good one. And I actually made this swatch ages ago, and it's a silly idea for me anyway. It might work fine for other people, to do your swatch and then wait a while before you do the actual good piece, because there's little things that your brain captures that you don't necessarily write down, or you think when you're doing the swatch, I'll remember that, and you don't, you won't. And I shouldn't have left it so long from doing the swatch to doing the good piece, because there were little bits I didn't quite remember, but I figured them all out now. Thankfully I had taken pretty good notes when I did this last section here, where I really had figured it out, and so when it came time to doing the good piece, it didn't take me too much to figure it back out again, and I've adjusted my notes so that they're spot on now. So let me show you the good piece. Well, it's only halfway. I'm just over halfway now, so, but that gives you the idea of what the whole thing's about to look like. But I'm about up to there, so from about there up to about there is what I've got on this good piece, and I'll show you. Make sure I pick it up right, because it's in a little bit of a tangle with the yarn, and I don't want to drop any stitches off because that would be painful. Okay, so let me just do that, and then, so here we go. So this is what's happening here, and you can see now, don't slide off the table please, just gently talking to my knitting. You can see now what I was talking about. So I've backed that panel up against each other in a big row, in a big repeat. And sometimes the variegated yarn, or speckled yarn, which is this, the speckles sometimes bump into each other, and you get some interesting little blips like this, or even that, where you're not sure what's going on, like that, or even those there, and they make for some interesting little plays in the stitch work, which are pretty interesting. I really enjoy them, but I could see that other people might not enjoy them because they could be misconstrued as errors, I guess, in the stitches. On first glance you could think, oh, is that a missed stitch or a double stitch or something like that, but it doesn't matter to me. I like that little play. So I am indeed just over halfway around, and this is going to be a big long infinity scarf. That was mine for infinity scarf, that you should be able to wrap around twice. So essentially it's a big loop tube of this, goes all the way around. And I'll show you the other side just so you can, I'm trying to be really delicate because it's this yarn's very slippery and springy, and it has a tendency to bounce off the needles, and I've already had a few incidents of it doing that, and I don't want it to do it again. It's really hard to get it back on the needles without swearing. So this is what it looks like on the other side. So it's quite interesting It's still a double-sided affair, as with most brioche things, but it doesn't have the same double-sided effect as you may be used to with brioche. But I really like the effect. So I don't know if you can see exactly what's going on here. It might be easier to show it. Maybe it's not. It probably is actually. On here, there's usually with brioche you've got a main colour and a contrast colour, and one colour is to the front and one colour sits back. With this one, both colours take it in turns to be on the front at the same time. So you've got the blue at the front as well as the white being at the, or the cream being at the front at the same time in this appearance, just here. And here you've got the blue at the front while the white sits at the back. And that's more typical brioche that you would be used to. Once again, here you've got both colours at the front at the same time, but up here you've got the cream sitting at the front and the blue sitting at the back. And then up here, ignore that blip, that's an error. You've got garter stitch happening with both colours at the same time, but they're surrounded by brioche stitches. So you've got a combination of both colours being the dominant colour at the same time. When you turn that over, makes an interesting change. I don't know if that's really that noticeable or makes that much sense when you're in this situation, but yeah, so you've got both colours playing a role on the dominant side at the same time. So it's interesting. So you've got both colours being knit and purled on the dominant side at the same time. Don't know if that makes much sense either. But yeah, there's action happening on both row A and row B of the brioche rows or rounds. And I really, really enjoy it, and I love the effect you can get, and I'm really pleased with this. And this infinity scarf or infinity cowl is going to come in both a DK and a fingering weight version. This is the DK weight version, and it's actually working up quite quickly. Initially I was thinking, oh my god, this is going to take me forever, but it's not. It's working up really quickly. I started it yesterday, and I'm already over halfway, and I've been doing other things. I haven't worked on it exclusively because I was trying to finish my socks. It's worked up really quickly. It's not complicated. You can see I've got my pattern repeats separated by stitch markers. I don't know how obvious those are. And once you get that stitch repeat, that pattern repeat in your head, it's quite simple to memorise for the round. You're not going to memorise the whole panel, but once you do that twice, for example, in the round, you've got it memorised and you can read what's happening in your stitches, and you don't have to sit there and read the pattern for every single stitch for every single round, if that makes sense. So you might read the pattern repeat for the first 2 pattern repeats per round, for example, and then it's quite clear what's happening and you can just keep going. So that's nice. It's not particularly taxing. I've just been watching Netflix and stuff while I'm doing it. It's been a relaxing knit. There's nothing too outrageous in it. I'm loving the way it's turning out, so that's good, and it's got that popcorny kind of thing because there's something new happening every round, so you want to see how the pattern's developing, and you think, I'll just do the next round. I'll just see what's happening on the next round. Oh, there's a bit of new action on the next round. I'll just see what's happening there. And then you think, oh, I may as well just get to the end of this round. I'll just get to the end of this round. And then next thing you know, you're, just over halfway. So it's got those sorts of elements to it. And it's, I'm really, really enjoying it. It takes roughly 200 grams of yarn. So it's not a massive yarn eater or anything like that. It's really good. This yarn here is, oh my god, it's so good. I've been stalking it in Rosehip Island, the Rosehip Island shop, Hannah's shop. Hi Hannah. For ages, and I thought, why am I stalking it? Just get it, treat yourself. And I did. I treated myself, and I got it, and I was so pleased. And then I went into my local yarn shop and matched it up with some beautiful yarn. It was a perfect match, and I could not wait to cast it on. I think I actually power walked home so that I could cast it on as soon as I got home. And as soon as I say goodbye to you from here, I'm going to keep knitting on it because I am enjoying it that much. But the next thing I need to talk about is that in March, I'm not sure of the exact start date, but in March I will be hosting a brioche along, and I'm going to have some beautiful prizes. I've had some amazing yarn donated to me from Hannah of the Rosehip Knits podcast. Thank you. And I've had some really beautiful yarn donated to me from Jen of the Little Yellow Cat Etsy shop, and I am going to wait until the next episode to show you, until it's a little bit closer to the actual start date of the podcast, and I'm going to have some other amazing prizes as well, so it's definitely going to be worth joining in, and you'll be able to get more information about the brioche along in the Ravelry group, and you'll see me talking about it on Instagram as well, so keep an eye on there. I just thought I'd give you a little warning so you can start thinking about what patterns you might like to use, or what yarns you might like to use, or if you might like to brush up on your brioche techniques, or perhaps you want to teach yourself some brioche knitting via YouTube. And in my Ravelry group, if you pop in there, you will see there is a thread in there full of links about brioche knitting, and they link to really helpful video tutorials on YouTube. And if you can't find something there to help you, let me know in that thread, and I will try and track down another really helpful video that will help you, because thankfully lots of really helpful, clever people have put amazing videos on YouTube that will definitely get you started on brioche knitting. It's obviously one of my favourite techniques. I love all the different shapes and patterns and textures that you can make with it, and I love the way it combines colours. So you can maybe use the brioche along as the thing that gets you started with brioche if it's something you've been thinking about trying, or if it's something that you want to get more adventurous with, maybe this will be the thing that starts you. So keep your eyes open for more information about that. Pop into the Ravelry group in a little while and you'll see a thread starting there talking about it. There will be lots of lovely prizes. There'll be a chatter thread and an FO thread. You don't have to use one of my brioche patterns. You can use any brioche pattern. And in the chatter thread, I'm going to ask for suggestions for your favourite brioche patterns, if you know of some exciting brioche patterns, and I'll make a list in there so that we've all got lots of ideas of things we can use. and if you've got a great resource for a video that you found really helpful, I'd love you to post a link in that thread as well, because if you found it helpful, chances are someone else will find it helpful as well. And the more knowledge we can share, the better. And I think that's everything I needed to say about that at this time. And the last thing I need to do is draw a winner for the January year-long stash busting make along or craft along, whatever you'd like to call it, in the Ravelry group. And there's already loads of amazing entries, so everyone's off to a great start with their stash busting already in 2018, which is fantastic. Congratulations. So if you can see your name along the bottom of the screen right now, congratulations. You have won the January pattern prize for the year-long stash busting craft along in the Ravelry group. So contact me via Ravelry and tell me any pattern on Ravelry that you like. It doesn't have to be one of my patterns, it can be any pattern you like on Ravelry, any individual pattern that you want. I will send it to you as a gift on Ravelry. So contact me on Ravelry, let me know the name of the pattern, and I will send it to you. And thank you to everyone who's entered so far, and hopefully we all do some more stash busting in February. And I'll be back soon with more whips, more FOs, more design talk, and more information about the brioche long that will be beginning in March. And I will see you all soon. Bye.